Tell you what's liberating. This song, I wrote this song a while ago, and it just says, everything you do, I want to do with you. 'Cause doing things with you, it makes me happy. I wrote that because my son one time was trying to help me fix my keyboard racks. They're all spread out all over because sometimes those screws get so loose in those things, and you have to take them all apart, and you find screws inside, and there's little tiny screws, and it's like getting a pick out of a guitar with the strings on. You know what I mean? The inside. And Samuel was like 2 at the time, and he's got all these plastic tools. And he comes over and he says, I help you, Daddy. I help you, Daddy. I said, get over here, let's work on this. And we had a house at the time that was older house, and so it slanted to the east. You know what I mean? So any screws that fell on the ground, they just start rolling, you know? So Samuel comes over, and I said, well, Sam, why don't you hold these screws, you know? So I put one screw in his hand, another screw in his hand. Okay, I help you, Daddy. And then a few seconds later, I hear those screws. He just whipped them across the floor, you know? They go rolling. And he kept saying that, I help you, Daddy. I help you, Daddy. I help you, Daddy. I help you, Daddy. So then I said, why don't you just stand right here, over here? But I have this rack called the Trinity rack. This Korg makes this rack called the Trinity rack. I thought every worship leader should have a Trinity rack. It's awesome. So I had this Trinity rack, but it too, you know, started getting broken up. So it's sitting over there, and I'm working on this other rack. And all of a sudden, a couple seconds later, I hear Samuel. I helped you, Daddy. I help you, Daddy. And I hear this sound, and I turn around, and he's got all of his tools on him, and he's jumping up and down on top of the Trinity rack. Just jumping up and down, screaming, I help you, Daddy! I help you, Daddy! So I kind of pulled him off the Trinity rack and sat him on the ground. Of course, he walks right back on it, you know what I mean? It was awesome. I thought, I better just do this later. We better do something else. So I put the stuff away, and we didn't finish, you know. I got on the plane the next day, and I'm sitting ready to fly out. And I hear this as clear as that train. I hear, hey, you know you really don't help me, right? You know you don't help me, right? And he brought me back to that with my boy Samuel. You got your theology degree, your master's of divinity. You jump on my Trinity all the time. But that's not what I love about you, Jason. What I love about you is exactly what you love about Samuel. What I love about you, Jason, is that you want to help me. And that's the difference between falsely religious people and the sons and daughters of God. Falsely religious people have deceived themselves that they are helping God. The sons and daughters of the living God just want to help him. If we could just not lose the want, the desire. You know, that's what happens to us when we become religious, is we get too logical about it, and we think we're helping them, and we're not really doing much. In fact, oftentimes we're just jumping on stuff and throwing screws. And I'm not even saying that we know we're doing it. Just like oftentimes we can unknowingly maybe help God, like a child when Samuel runs up to me and just gives me a hug for no reason. And I start getting tears in my eyes because he's he doesn't necessarily know anything's going on in my life, but it always seems like they know when something's going on, but they don't know. Do you know what I mean? And that's such a beautiful place to be, when we just want to help them. We just want to help them. You know, everything you do, I want to do with you. 'Cause doing things with you, it makes me happy. And everything you say, I want to say it too. 'Cause even when I say it wrong, we just start laughing. Merciful Father, I'm learning to trust you. Love me the way that I am. And the simple desire to help you means more to you than whether I really can. When you were a child, I call you my own, and you were mine. When you were a child, you could not stand alone, oh, but you were fine. Lord says over you, I want to know that child again. Maybe time has changed you, but love remembers when. You called my name, and like the wind, I carried you away. It seemed like only yesterday. When you were a child, when you were a child, when you were a child, the world was the unknown, oh, but you were wise. You simply trusted me that I would never leave, and you held on tight. And I want to know that child again. Maybe time has changed you, but love remembers when. When you were a child, when you were a child, when everyone was your friend, and it was so easy to forgive. When everyone was your friend, lose who